Hello everyone and welcome back to Olga's Primary Maths. Today we are going to learn how to round numbers.
Round numbers? Do you mean we're going to make numbers round like this ball?
No, silly. We are going to round numbers to the nearest 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000 and 100,000 and even a million. Let's round this number 2,347,126 first to the nearest 10, then to the nearest 100, after that to the nearest 1,000, nearest 10,000, then nearest 100,000 and finally to the nearest million. How do we do that? Well, let's round it to the nearest 10 first. When we're rounding a number to the nearest 10, we're not interested in its units or ones. We only want to round it to the nearest 10. So at the end of the number, we should have 1 0, like in 10. So let's put this 1 0 there straight away. Now, to determine whether our tenths stay the same or round up, we need to look at the number right next to the tenth, which is number 6. If the number is 5 and over, we're rounding up. If the number lower than 5, it stays the same. So 6 is over 5, so that means that our number 2 is turning into 3. In other words, if we just take 26 out of this number and round it to the nearest 10, it's going to be 30. So you're asking yourself a question: is 26 closer to 20 or is it closer to 30? Well, it's closer to 30. Okay, but what do we do with the rest of the numbers? We just write them down as they are. Here it does. 2,347,130. Now let's round this original number to 100. So now we're not interested in tenths and we're not interested in units. They should be zeroed out. When we're rounding the number to the nearest 100, which has 2 zeros at the end, we should have 2 zeros at the end of our number. So let's put 2 zeros first at the end of our number. Okay, now let's look at the hundreds. 126. Is 126 closer to 100 or is it closer to 200? Well, we know it's closer to 100, but we can also check by looking at the tenths, because our tenths determine if our hundreds stay the same or if we are going to round them up. Okay? So 2 is lower than 5. That means that our hundreds stay the same. And the rest of the number is the same. So this original number rounded to the nearest 100 is going to be 2,347,100. Now let's round this original number to the nearest 1,000. 1,000 has 3 zeros at the end, so when we round our number to the nearest 1,000, it should have 3 zeros at the end, because we are not interested in hundreds, tens and units. We only want to know approximately how many thousands there are, up to the thousands. Okay, so this is our 1,000, 7,000. Now, to determine if it stays the same or if it rounds up, we're looking at our hundreds unit. And now hundreds, we've only got 1. If it's 5, if it's less than 5, our number stays the same, so 7 stays the same. In other words, you can ask yourself a question: is 7,126 closer to 7,000 or is it closer to 8,000? Well, it's obvious that it's closer to 7,000. Okay, so the rest of the numbers are the same. So now we rounded our original number to the nearest 1,000. Now we are rounding this number to the nearest 10,000. We should have how many zeros at the end? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's write them down straight away. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we are not interested in anything after our 10,000s. So we have 47,000. Is 47,000 closer to 40,000 or is it closer to 50,000? Well, to determine if our 10,000 stays the same or if it rounds up, we're looking at our 1,000, at our number next to it. And 7 is more than 5. That means that our 4 turns into 5. We're rounded up. In other words, 47,000 is closer to 50,000 than to 40,000. And these numbers stay the same. Okay, so 2,347,126 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is 2,350,000. Now let's round this number to the nearest 100. Okay, how many zeros should we have at the end? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So is 347,126 closer to 300,000 or is it closer to 400,000? Well, we can tell straight away that it's closer to 300,000, but how can we determine that our 3 stays the same and not rounds up? Well, we're looking at the number right next to it, which is 4, and 4 is less than 5. That means that 3 stays the same. Okay, so when we're rounding this number to the nearest 100, it's going to be 2,300,000. And now we are rounding the final rounding. We are rounding this number to the nearest million. Is all of this number closer to 2 million or is it closer to 3 million? Well, we can tell straight away it's closer to 2 million, but let's check. Let's look at the number right next to 2 million. It's 3. It's less than 5. That means that 2 stays the same. So this number rounded to the nearest million is just 2. Well, that's 2 millions. And let's check. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros there. So your checking mechanism, if you're rounding to the nearest 10, you should have 1 0 at the end. If you're rounding the number to the nearest 100, you should have 2 zeros at the end. 1,000, 3 zeros. 10,000, 4 zeros. 100,000, 5 zeros, and 1,000,000, 6 zeros.
I hope you find this video useful. Well, Olivia, do you think you know how to do it now?
Yes, I feel very confident now.